Hello students, parents. Hey, this is Mr. Kissinger. I'm just doing a video of area and of parallelograms and trapezoids. We'll also talk about perimeter when it makes sense in the problem. So let's get going, and as always we learn by doing examples. First, let's talk about parallelograms. Parallelogram, as we learned in class, we have two sets of parallel sides. One of the cool things we can do with it, though, is we can chop off that triangle there. This triangle over here, we can move that triangle, and we can move it right over there. And when we do so, we end up with, and I hope everyone can see that, a rectangle. So because we can do that, our formula is just going to be base times height, or length times width, whatever works for you. But it's just base times height. So we're going to use that formula here with our first example. So in our first example here, we have area. It's going to be base times height. And again, remember, they're always at right angles. So I'm looking for my two numbers at right angles. I have 6 centimeters and 4 centimeters. I'll multiply those together. I get 24, and centimeters times centimeters and centimeters squared. Now if I did the perimeter for this one, it's going to be all the distance of all the sides. I have a 5, 6, there's 6 at the top, and 5 here. Notice I'm not using that 4. I'm not using 4. And just like in area, I don't use the side length because it's not my base or my height. So you got to be really careful. Sometimes they give you too much information. You have to know what to use and what not to use. So in this case, we have 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6. My answer is going to be 22 centimeters for my perimeter. Area was 24 centimeters squared. All right, next problem. This one's a little different, only in that it uses fractions, but that doesn't make it any harder. It just means we have to worry about some fractions. So here we go. Perimeter. Again, don't use this number. This is your height. This is your height here. You don't need this. When you do perimeter, you're just adding up all the sides. So 9.5 plus 9.5 plus 8 plus 8. So this here gives me 18, 19 plus, and this here is 16, so my answer is going to be 35, and my units are inches. We didn't multiply any of those, so we're just adding them. It's going to be inches as my units. My area is going to be base times height. So here, my base is 8 inches. My height is 9 inches. When I multiply that, 8 times 9 is 72. Inches times inches is inches squared. So again, you could chop this triangle, move it over here, and it would make an 8 by 9. Almost square, but not quite. Rectangle. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is trapezoids. And trapezoids, what we learned in class is that when we take trapezoids, you have this shape here. And then if I clone this shape, or if I make a duplicate of it, and I put it right here. Let me see if I can do that real quick. And a little short piece there. It's going to go like that. So all I did is I made a clone, a copy of this guy. And I'm going to put him right here. So when I did that, notice I made a parallelogram. So now we got to figure out how to get the formula. Well, here's my top. Here's my bottom. Here's the same. My bottom is down there. Here's my top. And then we also had our height, h. So when we do this, what we're going to notice is that, like, for area of a parallelogram is going to be length, or your base times height. But here our base is going to be bottom plus top. Now we have to multiply that times the height for the parallelogram. But the issue here is that's for 2 of them. We don't want 2 of them. We only want 1 of them. So we have to divide by 2 to just get rid of that. So now we only have 1. Bottom plus top times height and divide by 2. We'll also see it as B1 plus B2 times h, our height, divided by 2. We talked about seeing it both different ways in class. So instead of drawing these, I thought it best to just use the problem straight from the book. So we're going to take a look at 2 examples here, straight from the book. The first one is number 1. So let's take a look here. Here we have, let's use our formula. We're going to do bottom plus top times height, all divided by 2. So my bottom here is 1, 2, 3 squares. 3 plus my top is 1, 2 squares, times my height. It's 1 square, 2 squares tall, and all that divided by 2. Alright, let's do order of operations. Parentheses first. 5 times 2 divided by 2. So it's going to be 10 divided by 2, which is, here I'll write that, 10 divided by 2, which is just going to be 5. And here we don't have any units, so we're just going to call it units. And it's going to be units squared. And the reason why it's on the bottom plus top, that's going to be units, times height is units. So you have units here, and we'll multiply, we get units squared. Now let's do another problem. We're going to do problem 2 right next door there. So again, this time I'll use the B1 and B1 plus B2 all times H divided by 2. Base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. So it doesn't matter which one you want to be your base 1. Let's do this top one. So it's going to be 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on the bottom. My height is going to be 1 square, 2 squares. And I'm dividing by 2. So when I figure that out, it's 7 times 2 divided by 2, which is just 7 units squared. We're not able to figure out the side lengths on some of these until we get to 8th grade math and we do some Pythagorean theorem. So until then, unless they give us those lengths, we're not going to be finding perimeter of those objects. So my apologies for this not being on the page. I hope that is better now. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can see my work now. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope this was helpful to you. If you need help, please ask in class. Thank you.